Appeal for August 31st is back in session. Please may I ask that if you please raise your hand when the case that you're interested in is called, and once you've put your comments on the record, please unraise your hand so that we know that we do not need to call on you as we proceed with this hearing. Before we get started, let me just take a roll call. Mr. Fortune?
I'm still here. Madam Chair. I haven't left you yet.
I'm glad. Thank you. Ms. Dong?
Present.
Ms. Panado?
I'm here, Madam Chair.
Excellent. Thank you. Ms. Walsh?
Oh, I'm here. Whoa.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Ms. Carrie Lowe. I'm messed up today. Sorry, Carrie.
If you write the full name.
Okay. Mr. Condell?
I'm here, Madam Chair.
Excellent. And Mr. Hampton from the BPDA?
I'm here, Madam Chair.
Excellent. So let's get started with the 11 o'clocks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, one more time, I'm going to call any deferrals or withdrawals for 11 o'clock. If you give me the address, if you have a deferral or withdrawal for 11 o'clock only. Looks like we're good. On the first case, calling VOA 105-3706, 1 to 2 Thompson Square. This is the project consists of a change of occupancy and residential addition to an existing building. The proposed addition will approximately 23,630 square feet and will be comprised of 9 residential units. The first floor of the proposed building includes a 3-level, 3-space, 9-car garage with elevator. Violation Article 62, Section 14, usable open space is insufficient. Article 62, Section 29, off-street parking, design and maneuverability. Article 62, Section 29, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 62, Section 14, the floor-area ratio is excessive. And Article 62, Section 8, the building height is excessive in feet. Name and address for the record, please.
Sure. My name is Jerry Sullivan with Spencer Sullivan Vogt Architects.
Will anybody else be speaking on this project?
Possibly Rich Flamansky, and
Okay.
Vernon Woodworth is with us as well.
Okay, Ms. Sullivan, if you could speak up a little bit.
Sure. Am I having trouble with my?
Well, I'm just a little bit hard of hearing, so it would help at least.
No problem. Okay.
Officially on my part. So
Okay.
if you can please tell us what's being proposed in its entirety, and then segment what is being proposed by this request at the Zoning Board of Appeal.
Sure. We are proposing a 9-unit residential building attached to 1 Thompson Square in Charlestown. There will also be 1 retail space included with this thing. So 9 residential and 1 retail building. It is attached to a 1876 building at 1 Thompson Square, as I mentioned before. It is a part infill project and with a large, addition in the back of the building.
So tell us what's in the existing building then. What will be the total unit count when you combine both buildings?
So the existing building is office space and retail. It is not residential. And I don't have the exact numbers of how many units are on each floor. It varies a little bit, but there's probably about 3 or 4 small offices on each of the building floors, and the upper floors have just like 1 or 2 large offices.
Okay, and then this proposal is for still for 9 residential units and 1 retail?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
And so what we need to understand is this infill going to be taking the place of parking, because your violations seem to be parking and maneuverability? And so can you speak to that and then give us the breakdown of the units, 1s, 2s, 3s, and the average square footage?
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to actually pass the square footage on the, I mean, I think the average square footage is somewhere around 1,300 square feet. I don't have that figure in front of me with it. We are actually losing 2 parking spots with this building, and we are adding 3. So it's a gain of 1 parking space.
Okay, so tell us about the breakdown on the units.
On the first floor, we have retail. Second, third, and fourth units, we have, if you go to the plans there, you can see them. Did they slide to the plan page? It should be backwards, it should be back the other way. Okay, I want to just go all the way back to the first one there, if we can go just a little bit there. Okay, so there we have the first floor, which has the retail. And then we have this little plaza that we're attaching outside of the retail area that's connected directly to the Starbucks, which is an existing tenant in the existing building there on the corner. So that's what we have on the first floor. If you go to this, and then we have parking. We have what we originally proposed, 9 spaces there, but we are now proposing 3, which I'll get to in a minute. This is the second and third floor, where you can see 3 units on each of these units, on each of these floors. So there's 3 residential units on these floors. I think 2 or 3 bedrooms on each of these. And then if you go to the next floor, okay, is that the third floor you have there?
So basically,
Yep.
the theme continues throughout the building.
Right, until we get to the fourth floor, and then we have some community space. We have some outdoor community space there, as well as some communal. I was showing a fitness room there, but if you look at those tables there in the lower left there, that's the inside. But then if you go, you're actually on an outside plaza on the lower left there.
So that's the equivalent of a roof deck. It has a couple units up there, and then
Right.
outdoor space, and that's
Right.
accessible to all residents. Okay,
Right,
so,
yeah.
so whoever it is on your team, can you give us the breakdown, please, of 1, 2s, and 3s, and the average square footage?
Louis, can I pass that off to you? Do you have those numbers there on the average square footage? Hang on one second. I want to make sure he's allowed on that one.
In the meantime, let me ask Mr. Kendall, how are the plans?
Madam Chair, these drawings are adequate.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, hang on. Let me just pull up here the square footage counts for these.
Can everyone hear me?
So, oh yeah, go ahead, Louis. Yeah.
Okay, so in this case, for
Please identify yourself and give your address on the record.
Luis Vega Correa, I work with Jerry and Spencer Sullivan Vogue Architects.
Thank you.
So, giving a breakdown of the units from the second floor to the fifth floor, the average square footage, they range anywhere from approximately 1,300 to 1,600 square feet, and majority of the units are 2 bedrooms, with the exception of the fifth floor, which is also 2-bedroom. However, it is a much larger unit that it captures the floor itself.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
Is there a landscaping plan?
We have not a full landscaping plan, but we do have some renderings of the plaza. Are these on this set?
Can you just talk through the landscaping, the buffering?
Sure. So what we're, this is an infill housing. So we're proposing a big part of this is replacing where a building was originally years ago before it was torn down, and we're basically replacing infill housing in that respect. The only open area in that is the plaza out front, which is the space between 1 Thompson Square and the adjacent building. So when you come out of the new addition, you're walking into a plaza there. Yes, can you hear me?
How big is that space? So we get a sense of what a plaza means, because
Sure.
then I think you can then respond to Ms. Bonato's question.
Yeah, it's 525 square feet,
Okay.
that space between there. And I'm just wondering, if you go back, do we have the rendering on the front page of this submittal? It might give a good indication of what's going there. I just want to see if we have that on that front. It may not be part of this presentation. We did present it to the BPDA, and we had full rendering showing the outdoor space. This drawing, which was our initial submittal, which is what we submitted, is what we're showing here, and it doesn't show that space in any detail. If you go to the first floor, you'll see it.
So tell us which page we should be looking at.
The first floor plan, right here. Yeah. So if you scroll down to the lower left there, can you zoom in there a little bit?
Blow it up a bit.
There we go. That's great. Okay, so right now there's an existing plaza there, and there's a Starbucks to the immediate right. That's where you see those double doors. What we're trying to do is bring up the level of that outdoor plaza, if you will. Actually create a plaza. Right now it's just a little outdoor space. And so you have those two doors that go into the Starbucks. You come out, what you're looking on those L-shaped things are planter boxes, in which you would have plants and flowers growing in there. And then you would have the room for 3 or 4 tables with umbrellas in that outdoor space.
I think what we need to understand is how this meets the needs of the residents versus the needs of Starbucks people. Because, is there, to Ms. Bonato's point, is there a shade tree? Is there something else that will be an amenity to this addition?
And what will be like in the wintertime?
Yeah, okay, well, that's a great point, and I guess at this point I should add our discussions with MBTA, in which we discussed moving the bus stop to in front of this building, widening the sidewalk out front, which is only about 4 or 5 feet right now, widening that out significantly, and that goes in front of the existing building and the new building. All that has been part of the discussions we've had with MBTA so that we can move the bus stop to this location. So yes, the immediate that's the area that's part of the property that's owned by the developer is this plaza out here. But outside of that, just to the bottom of your page right here, you're going to have an 8 to 10 foot sidewalk that also serves as a bus stop. There is an existing tree to the left, which we're going to keep, and we're going to be adding plants there. So this is an open public plaza. It's not Starbucks territory. Obviously, there's both of the buildings, and if anybody's familiar with the area, you'll know this is already I don't want to say a public hangout, but a place where a lot of people gather in the area.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Go
Mr.
ahead.
D'Amico spoke on this. 1 to 2 Thompson Street. All the 9 spaces proposed are too small. The elevator should be able to accommodate vehicles 8.5 by 20.
So you're only really proposing 3 parking spaces, right?
That's right.
Madam
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was going to say, Madam Chair, if I may interject, this is Rich Lemansky. I am a managing director at Thompson Square Partners, the building owner and the proposer of the project. I just want to make a point that the initial application showed a request to put an indoor 9-spot parking structure, which would have a hydraulic lift as a component of it. After reviewing the cost and the value of adding that, it was elected to remove that. And so on that ground floor area, the parking will be made available exclusively to owners within the new proposed structure. The managing partner of Thompson Square intends to occupy the top floor of this building personally, and that garage space will be used most likely for his personal vehicle and for access to have trash removal and things of that sort to service the rest of the occupants in the building exclusively.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Chair, Secretary, this is dated August 24th. Do we not have the updated plans?
Yeah, that when we were asked to submit plans, we were submitting the plans that were originally submitted because that's what we're responding to. We do have updated plans.
But do we have them? That's my question.
Mr. Lemansky, since I have you on the line, you are asking variances of us to build something above and beyond what you would be allowed to provide as of right. And I'm sure that, that the income from this proposal will be good. So my question to you is, why have you reduced the spaces? Because ultimately the problem becomes is that we understand, of course, that one, maybe two of the spaces will be used by the owner of the top unit. So that means that leaves one space available for the other 8 units. And we know that without this adequate parking, ultimately with these incremental relief that people are requesting and that their expectation is that this board grants, that in fact the neighborhood in the long run suffers because people are constantly jockeying for spaces and having issues. So can you explain to me again why, beyond a cost proposal, cost benefit analysis, why there isn't enough parking being provided when this is a new addition?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd be happy to. I think it's important to understand that the building owns and maintains a parking lot behind it that is private to our tenants and our proposed owners inside of this new building. So as Jerry mentioned earlier, we have laid out the building to have absolute minimal effect on the existing parking lot. Ultimately, we decided to reduce the total number of spaces in the existing parking lot by 2, but we are adding 3 inside of the building. So we're actually adding a net 1 parking space to the overall 1 to 2 Thompson Square.
And so I think the next question is, what happens when that parking lot it becomes a development site?
It will not be a development site. It's a parking structure. It's the previous site of the church that Church Court was named after. And when it was demolished, the owners at the time merely paved over the lot and left it as a large, wide open parking structure, which is how we would intend to leave it, as a parking lot.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Is anybody here to speak either in support or in opposition of this proposal?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Keon Stapleton from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The Mayor's Office would like to go on record in support of this project. There was an abutters meeting held on March 16, 2020, in a public meeting that was also held through the BPA, which was approved on June 10, 2021. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Secretary here, we have letters of opposition.
Thank you.
We have a raised hand, a couple raised hands.
start with you, Mark. You've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please, Mark?
Hi, my name is Mark Swabar, and I live at 14 Cordis Street in Charlestown. As a direct abutter to the property, I'm concerned with the height of the addition, especially at the rear of the property. The property we're talking about and the neighboring are zoned for 35 feet, and the developer seeks not just to exceed that height, but to nearly double it at, I believe it's 67 or 68 feet, which seems a bit excessive. So I know that I'm personally concerned about losing light view from my windows and patio, which directly abut the property. Also, to add on to the questions about the parking, the existing parking lot, I believe, is filled now with renters, people who rent spaces. So if those spots are then going to be turned over to the occupants of the new addition, where will the current renters go?
Thank you. Emily, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Hi, my name is Emily Lord. I live at 16 Cordis Street, also a direct abutter, and similar to what Mark said, we are really concerned about the excessive height of the building, and it will block our afternoon light, our direct sun, and our views out of our windows. We had asked them to complete a light and shadow study, which they did, but it showed that we wouldn't be losing light, but we have pictures to show, and we look out every night, and it would be directly blocking the sun as it comes down every night. So we're concerned about that and how it would potentially affect our property value if we were to lose our direct sun in view. Concern about noise from the roof decks as well, and similar to what everyone else has expressed, parking in the neighborhood is already extremely tight. There are a lot of young families, and really concerned that potential for 8 to 16 new cars in the neighborhood would significantly impact parking already.
Thank you. Barbara, you've been unmuted. Could you state your name and address for the record, please? Hi, Barbara. Amanda, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Thank you. Amanda Zettel, 41 Monument Avenue. I'm the president of the Charlestown Preservation Society. I'm speaking in opposition of the variances sought for this building. It is Charlestown's only landmark building, the Charlestown Savings Bank. First, the building's zoned use is neighborhood shopping. As a result of urban renewal in Charlestown, all of our restaurants and retail are condensed to this area of town. I'm hesitant to add residential units to a building that has the ability to add the public services that Charlestown needs in order to grow responsibly. Second, Charlestown is in the middle of a comprehensive neighborhood-wide planning study with the BPDA, and we ask that major changes to zoning and substantial variances such as those sought here not be allowed until Plan Charlestown determines what is appropriate. The process so far has shown that residents of Charlestown regard this area as historic and that it should not be changed significantly. Also that the neighborhood needs family-sized housing, 3 and 4 bedroom units. I oppose the...
Thank you, sorry. So the next person, please give us new information.
Oh, we do have a caller. Caller 21, you've been unmuted. That's 617-620. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Good morning. My name is Richard Mazo, and I am the abutter, the closest abutter to the project at 2 Dexter Row in Charlestown. I'm very concerned about the parking. I think it's very inadequate at the present time, given the fact of all of the retail offices in the 1 Thompson Square, as well as the Starbucks. And I think this can only add additional problems with respect to parking. I am concerned about the damage to my building during construction. It's going to be like a foot or so away from 2 Dexter Row. I'm concerned about the disruption to my tenants, and possibly they might have to leave as a result of all of the ongoing construction that I anticipate this project going on. And I believe that as the closest abutter, I've had very little contact with the developer of this project. So I just wanted to make my points. Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, I have no additional raised hands.
Okay, and did I notice something in chat? Okay, so this was from Amanda Zettel. Okay, everybody can read that because it's out to everybody. Can we just have that in the record? So given all that information, do you have any rebuttal comments to make?
I think I can, Rich, just to respond to some of those issues. Because first of all, there are 5 items here, and we're actually trying to withdraw 3 of the variance requests, and only deal with 2 of them. To deal with the parking issue in the back, you know, there's a pretty good sized parking lot which is allocated to office space. Now, you know, as the architect, but also a tenant of this building, you know, I parked in the back there. Quite frankly, before COVID, and the traffic slowed, you know, got better. I, you know, took the commuter rail in, and then I took a bike from the commuter rail to the building. And being in off, yeah.
Sorry, so can you be brief, because we do have a few other cases.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so go ahead.
I'm just saying is that I don't think that there's going to be an increase in the number of parking in the area, because the people parking there need to park there all day, and they can't park in Charlestown all day. So there's going to be if some of these parking spots go to residential, they're going to end up having to find other means to get to work. That's what I'm getting at there.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing is, I just wanted to make quickly that we were removing, you know, variance number 1, which is the usable open space, because we do have adequate space now. The off-strip parking.
You have 5 square feet on the lower level and that communal space on the top. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Right. Yeah.
So board members, given the information on the project, given the voice of the abutters, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I'm going to make a motion, Secretary, for denial.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next 2 cases, calling BOA 1211917 Montgomery Street. There's a companion case, the building code BOA 121210069 Montgomery Street. This is a change of occupancy from 2-family to a 5 larger to a 3-family. Violations, Article 64.94, Townhouse Row Extension, Balcony Addition. Article 32, Section 32-4, this is Groundwater Conservation Overlay District. Article 64, Section 34, the proposed roof deck structure regulations. Article 64, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. For building code, it's the 9th edition, 780 CMR 1011, stairways, 1011.11.12.2, roof access through a penthouse. 9th edition, 780 CMR 1021, egress balconies, the fire escape down to the garage roof is eliminated, instead a ladder is proposed. Name and address for the record, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Moran, Alpine Advisory Services, with the mailing address of 130 Beach Road, Orleans, Mass. Madam Chair, we are seeking G-code zoning and building code relief. How does the chair wish to proceed?
Yes, let's go to the building code relief. And my question to you, are you still requesting that?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Kendall, I know that that we in certain districts have been approving access through, oh, this is through a penthouse. Okay. You know what I want to do is, Mr. Kendall, are you comfortable with this building code issue, or should we postpone this case to a date when we have the architects on board?
I would like to postpone, Madam Chair.
Okay, may I have a motion for deferral? Sorry, Mr. Moran, we just want to make sure we're being consistent.
Madam Chair, If I may be heard, this is a proposal for a hatch which the board customarily approves. It is a compliant alternative under the code.
Okay, so, yes, because this doesn't actually tell us that there's a hatch in here. That's just awkward, because, it doesn't tell us it's access through a hatch.
Yes, we're cited under the building code because the building code requires a...
Yes, I know that, but the fact of the matter is the text does not refer to a hatch. Okay, so given the fact that the applicant has presented the fact that this is through a hatch and we have been approving these, may I have a motion for approval?
Madam Chair, this is Tom. I believe the building code violation was also for a redesign of the fire escapes as well as the hatch.
Okay, so let's go back then to our motion for deferral.
I'll make that motion for deferral, Secretary.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please.
We can bring them in for September 28th at 12:30. 9/28 at 12:30.
And apologies to all of you who've stayed for this. We'll see you on the 28th at 12:30.
Thank you.
Calling the next case, calling VOA 113-1584, 362 to 364 West Broadway. This is to install a new roof deck in the rear of the fourth floor existing roof, exclusive use for Unit 6. The violation is Article 9, Section 1, reconstruction extension of a non-conforming building. Article 68, Section 29, the roof structure restriction. Article 68, Section 8, dimensional regulations, insufficient side yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Doug Stefanov, business address at 423 West Broadway, Suite 404. Here representing Andrei Omelchenko, who's the owner and resident of Unit 6 at 364 West Broadway. Madam Chair, members of the board, I come before you to seek relief for a back deck here on the top of the fourth floor of this new construction. Let me just start by saying that this project was before the board back in June 21st, 2016. This is a new construction 6-unit building. At that time, there was no mention in the decision of this deck, nor were there any provisos listed other than a BRA design review. So I just want to start with that. Andre has purchased and he does live at this address. He has a bi-level unit, so his unit is both on the 4th and 5th, which faces Broadway. The building steps down on the back facing Athens Street. So the front cover, you see the actual deck itself. It is built, it's created, it's just a rubber roof right now. So Andre...
So I'm sorry, is this, how is it accessed again?
There's a direct door, if I can just go to the next page. There's a direct door from the back staircase, which is locked, directly out to the deck.
Okay, and so the library, so this is...
The library belongs to Unit 6.
Okay.
And you pass through the staircase, and then the door leads directly. I have some pictures if you'd like.
No, I'm just trying, that's okay. So let's just see. And it talks about a canopy. Is that just for, it's not an attached canopy or anything?
No, it's just a fabric to stand up, pop-up tent.
Okay, cool, okay. And is it visible from the street?
Well, from Athens Street, yes, you would see it as you would any of the other rear decks in the back of the buildings, but not from Broadway. No, it is not visible from Broadway.
How are the plans, Mr. Kendall?
Drawings are adequate, Madam Chair.
Any questions from the board? is anybody here to speak either in support or in opposition of this proposal?
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the board, Haley Dillon, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in opposition of this project based on the opposing direct abutters and the Civic Association in opposition as well. It's our understanding that during the community process for this bill that no roof deck was discussed. I know they mentioned there was no proviso, but that is our understanding from the Civic Association as well as the direct abutters who were part of this process. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Secretary, here we have letters of opposition, and it is about the deck, and we do have a couple letters of support.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the...
Oh, go ahead.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan for City Council at Large, Michael Flaherty. Due to Article 68 considerations as well as neighborhood opposition, Council to go on record in opposition.
I do have some raised hands here. Audrey, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Oh, hi. My name is Andrei Anolchenko. I live at 362 West Broadway, Unit 6. I'm the owner of the units.
Excuse me, you're the owner of the unit? We don't take testimony from the owners. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And excuse me, Madam Chair, Anna from Councilor Flynn's office just called. She got kicked off WebEx, but she's on, so just wanted to know if she could speak again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's just not a host.
Oh, she's not. Is she on the phone? Okay, nope, I see her now. 1 second. And I've just made you a panelist. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Madam of the Chair, members of the board. Thank you. I just had some difficulties. The councilor would like to go on record in opposition based on feedback from neighbors and abutters during a number of meetings throughout. I'm so sorry. I was reading the wrong one. Madam of the Chair, members of the board, Anna Calderon from Councilor Flynn's office. The councilor would like to go on record in opposition based on feedback from abutters in the St. Vincent's Lower End Neighborhood Association who oppose to the roof deck as well. Neighbors have concerns about the potential issues another roof deck will bring in terms of the already existing loud noise and quality of life issues that many neighbors are experiencing in the neighborhood that was exacerbated during the pandemic in the form of parties and trash removal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, I'm Kathleen Alexander, and I'm the property manager for Unit 7 at 366 West Broadway. And the owners there, I came to represent them in opposition to the roof deck on the next building. As I understand it, I actually was involved when the original building was built, and unfortunately, several of the owners, I don't believe Brian Anton, who's also the owner on the top floor at the building next door, both of those would overlook this area and this deck. At the time that the building was built, it was promised actually in three different times in 3 different places that no roof decks would be built on that building. There is a concern because it directly overlooks everyone's windows on the top 2 floors of the building next door. That there would be a noise issue with that, and also we're concerned about safety issues as well there. My owners in particular really oppose the canopy in particular for this deck because it would block their view of Boston because they have a direct view over that to Boston. And also...
so let me just ask you, if the deck were smaller and not quite as extensive, what would the concerns be, or would there be any concerns going forward?
There would still be a concern. There's actually a huge picture window in the unit 7 that I represent that actually directly overlooks where this deck area is. So the concern, and that's to the living space for the unit, there's also 2 additional windows in that hallway which are next to the bedrooms, which
Thank
also
you,
overlook that.
So I get it. Okay, thank you. Let's see, Ms. Ambassador, anybody else? Let's keep it short. Give us new information if you have any comments, please.
I don't believe I have additional no, sorry, Audrey, not Audrey. Barbara, you've been unmuted. Are you here to give Oh, no, she just muted herself, sorry.
Okay, so,
Amanda? Oh, go ahead, we're all set.
no, I think, Amanda, were you here for, the project in Charlestown? Yes, I think she
Okay,
was.
sorry, there's still hands raised.
Okay.
Just make sure people lower their hands, but Madam Chair, I have no additional raised hands.
Okay, so given all this information, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Secretary, I'm going to make a motion for denial.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those, and that was Ms. Dong, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
It's now 12:42. I'm going to call the 12:30 rediscussions for deferrals or withdrawals. So if you're deferring or withdrawing any case from 12:30, could you please give me the address?
168 Grove Street, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you. For the record, calling BOA 116-1771, 168 Grove Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lins, 245 Sumner Street, on behalf of the petitioner. Madam Chair, we're requesting a deferral to speak to the board executive secretary regarding an ISD issue concerning an easement. We believe the easement is likely extinguished or no longer in effect, but we want to obviously address that in our plans before we proceed with the hearing, so we're requesting a brief deferral on this.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion for deferral.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please?
We have the last date of, we can get you in on September 28th, I believe. Double check that.
I'm sorry, did you say December 28th?
No, September. You get the last date for September 28th.
Works for me.
9/28 at 12:30.
Thank you very much.
Then,
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals from 12:30?
Mr. Fortune, 74 Burt Street.
Thank you, Mr. Lacat. For the record, calling BOA 119-4538-74 Birch Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Mark Lacasse, 75 Arlington Street in Boston, attorney for the applicant. Madam Chair, we are seeking a deferral based upon a redesign of the project and the need for further community review process of the reduced proposal being advanced.
so just a comment to applicants out there. You know, we are kind of like doing you a favor when you come in and propose a project that's too large and you know it's going to take a time in working its way through the community process. Please kind of figure out how to make sure that you get on the agenda once everything is sorted out. Okay, so here's a request. Yes, and this is to anybody out there who's watching. So there's a motion. Was there? Did we vote?
I'll make a motion for deferral, Madam Chair.
Is there
Secretary.
a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The date, please.
You have a date of November 16th at 12:30.
Thank you so much.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 12:30? Hearing none, I'll go back to our 11:30 cases. Calling BOA 119-4405-28 Wildwood Street. This is erecting a new 3-story apartment building with 4 units, including 4 off-street parking and extend an existing curb cut on a vacant lot. The violation, Article 10, Section 1, limitation of parking areas. Article 60, Section 40, off-street parking and loading. Article 60, Section 9, insufficient lot size. Article 60, Section 9, insufficient additional lot area. Excuse me. Article 60, Section 9, insufficient lot width. Article 60, Section 9, insufficient lot width frontage. Article 60, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 60, Section 9, insufficient open space. Article 60, Section 41, special provisions for corner lots in the front yard requirement. Article 60, Section 8, use is forbidden. And Article 60, Section 9, insufficient side yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
One second, Peter Bryson. see that name on.
I'm
sorry, it's Daniel Azan, 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Director.
Okay, you've been unmuted, Daniel, go ahead.
Thank you. Daniel McDevitt, attorney, 2 Granite Avenue in Milton, and Peter Bryson is the owner of the property at 28 Wildwood, and he is also on. What we're proposing here is to take, this is a vacant lot of land.
Mr. McDevitt, we know the history of these D&D parcels. Can you go right to the proposal and right to the zoning and the violations?
Certainly. So the proposal was to construct a 3-story, 4-unit building, taking the first floor and splitting it into a 2-bedroom unit of 741 square feet and a 1-bedroom unit of 548 square feet. The second and third floor being 3-bedroom units each of 1,288 square feet. This is a corner lot. It's on the corner of Hildreth Street. Peter also owns the house next door to it, which is 30 Wildwood, where he lives. He's owned this since 2017, and he's been working with DND for a few years now. There formerly was a 3-family house on this lot, and it was right out to the line of the street, which every house on the street is about 4 feet off of, they line up about 4 feet off the sidewalk. This location is 3/10 of a mile in walking distance to the Morton Street station on the Fairmount line. The proposal is to have 1-unit D&D low income at 80% AMI, and the violations are, and of course this building would have...
Tell us about the parking. Tell us how it's going to work.
Okay, so the parking is designed, there's a necessity of about a 1-foot move of one side of the curb cut. Because Hildreth takes a little bit of a bend, it would be safer if the curb cut were moved back 1 foot up the street on Hildreth Street. And that would help with the swing. And it wouldn't affect any parking on the street because it's such an insignificant amount of difference. Peter accesses parking in his rear yard.
Sorry, can you tell us which plan we should be looking at to see the parking plan? Oh, I see, we got it. Okay, excellent.
Okay, so if you look at this plan and you see where it says proposed driveway easement in the rear yard, that is to access the rear of Peter's house at number 30 Wildwood Street. The design of the parking is only shown on this plan, but the intended and completed design would be that the parking spaces number 1 and number 2 would be able to back onto Peter's property at number 20, where he accesses his parking spaces, so that they could pull into their space and then back around onto the portion of the driveway easement that extends over onto number 30 Wildwood and then drive straight out onto the street.
Is there a proposed cross easement then?
Well, because Peter owns both lots right now in his own name, technically he can't give himself an easement, but yes, that is the intention, would be to convey one lot into a different entity and then have cross-lot easements for the purposes of the vehicles behind number 28 swinging around and going out. So that is the intended plan.
Okay. How are the plans, I'm sorry, Mr. Condell?
Drawings are adequate, Madam Chair.
Any questions from the board?
Yes, Madam Chair, Secretary here. Mr. D'Amico, BTD, has spoken this. I'll put it for the record. Regarding 28 Wildwood Street, the parking plan works from a VPD perspective. The curb cut should not be over 20 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak either in support or in opposition of this proposal?
Hello, yes, good afternoon. Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Peoples here from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record for the proposal. The applicant has completed the community process where on July 15th, there was a butters meeting. Sorry. There was an abutters meeting held on July 15th run by the Office of Neighborhood Services, where the applicant addressed concerns of parking and design, building design on the call. The applicant has also met with abutters on the street as well as the Wildwood Street Neighborhood Association and gotten their support. And with those concerns on building design, the mayor's office again in support, we would ask that there be DPDA design review. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We do have a signature page of about 40 individuals and one support letter.
And I do have a raised hand, Madam Chair. Jordan, go ahead.
Hello. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jordan Frias here from Councilor Arroyo's office. We'd like to go on the record in support. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I have no additional raised hands.
Okay, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve with BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 120-2529, 55 Bowden Avenue. This is a renovation of an existing two-family into a three-family. One-car garage, along with the lot space, will be part of the adjacent unit. The existing lower unit, 1 duplex, will be converted into 2 units. The violation is Article 65, Section 8. Three-family dwelling is forbidden use in a zoning subdistrict. Article 65, Section 8. The dwelling unit located in the basement is forbidden. In Article 65, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, this is Kathleen McPherson and Gabriel Jenkins, co-owners of the unit, 55 Bowden Ave.
Yes, go ahead. Tell us what's being proposed.
Sure. It's loading. So we have a two-family right now. We want to add a garage to the side because we have a large side yard. And we want to make the bottom unit, it is currently a single unit. We want to split it into 2 units. It's the same number of bedrooms. The basement level unit would be brought up to compliance with building codes for safety, and we're adding the required fire suppression unit. And then underneath the garage, because we're on a hill, so walk out in the back, would be like a small lounge area we're landscaping the backyard to make it so that when you're in the backyard, you don't have to go up 4 flights of stairs to go to the bathroom because we're owner occupied.
Let me just ask you, which unit are you looking to, how is the conversion proposed to occur?
Sure. Do you mean in terms of how we would time it, or are you just asking which unit are we splitting? I'm sorry.
Because, I'm concerned about that basement unit, and of course we need to kind of talk all this through.
Sure.
About what the floor to ceiling height, because we don't know if that was a legal basement unit or if a predecessor owner of that building just put a unit in. So we cannot just take it for granted. Has this been taxed has that unit been taxed in the basement?
So the unit doesn't exist separately, but the bedrooms are counted in our current assessment.
Okay. Let's just talk this through, okay? So what is the floor to ceiling height in that basement unit?
I believe it's 84 inches, but that is not something we realized we needed to ask. The architect did do all the measurements and assured us that our plans would leave us in compliance for that.
Okay, let me just, I'm not very good at math.
Sure.
That's 6 feet.
No, it's an 8 foot, so whatever 8 feet is.
Okay, so you're
96 inches, I'm sorry, yeah, 96 inches, because it's 8 feet.
So it's 8 feet, it's 96 inches, okay. So what I'd like to do is, I'd like to make a motion for deferral on this. Because what we want you to do is come back with all the details, telling us about the floor to ceiling height in there, the floor to sill height, let's see where the utilities are and how the utilities are separate. So we really need to have a robust understanding. What is the second means of egress?
Sure.
All those details, because we need to understand that this is going to be safe for potential residents. Okay. So may I have a motion for deferral?
Can I ask a quick question before you?
Yes, please go ahead.
Just because we don't want to waste your time next time, do you have any other questions about any other parts of the plan so that we can?
Because mostly that is when we see a unit like that, that is what concerns us.
Okay.
And then let's see, and no, that Board members, do you guys have any other questions? Sorry? Tyrone, I'm having a hard time.
Chair, I saw tanks for the spring.
Okay.
Two tanks for the spring. Hear me now? Okay.
Okay, so I think you just need to know too about fire safety and everything like that.
Can you hear me, Madam Chair?
Yes, please go ahead.
We can hear you.
Access to the sprinklers should have been accessed from the outside.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, exactly. So
I didn't see mechanical room throughout the. I didn't see mechanical room throughout the building called out. So if there's I don't know if there's one mechanical space in the basement, or if they're gonna be in each unit. But yeah, something to look at before you come back.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And do you have a roof deck?
No.
Okay. So this is really to add a garage. Okay. So may I have a motion for deferral?
Motion for deferral.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The date, please.
You have a date of 11/16 at 12:30. So November 16th, 2021 at 12:30.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
See you then.
Yep.
Calling the next case. Calling DOA 107-0490, 31 Cambridge Street. This is a change of occupancy to include a cannabis establishment, then renovate the existing first floor commercial space. The violation is Article 62, Section 13, a cannabis establishment is conditional. Article 62, Section 13, cannabis establishment shall be sited at least 1/2 mile or 2,640 feet from another existing cannabis establishment. And Article 62, Section 14, the floor area ratio is excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Kevin Joyce, Doherty Law Offices for the petitioner. On the call with me are Jack Kelly and Dot Joyce, the owners, Dan Linsky from Kroll Security, our security consultant, Ralph Dinesco from Stantec, our traffic consultant, and Ryan Corner, our architect. The proposal is for a retail cannabis establishment in the first floor of the building at 31 Cambridge Street. We do need a conditional use permit, a variance to expand some of the basement space to be used for an office and a vault, and a variance of the buffer zone. How would you like to proceed?
Yes, Councilor Joyce, you've been before us in the past on specifically these cases, so can you please tell us exactly how the facility is going to work and how the facility is going to work, hours of operation, just a general sense of the security, and how delivery is going to work. And of course, it looks like this project might be sited close to another cannabis establishment. So speak to that too.
basics. Post-operation hours are Monday to Sunday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. The space is 1,134 square feet of retail space on the first floor, and we're going to have 1,134 space of basement space or storage, office, and a vault. The actual operations, I would ask Jack Kelly to, as he's the manager of the store, I'd have him present how the operation is going to work on a day-to-day basis.
Jack, please put your address on the record, and let's see, Jack, were you at the mayor's office of neighborhood services a long time ago? Okay.
Yes, I was. I was the neighborhood coordinator for about 5.5 years for Mayor Renito, Charlestown liaison. Yes, I was.
Excellent. So, and I see Dot Joyce is on, so good. So here's the entire team. So please go in and fill in the details of this project.
Okay, so sorry, we had some technical difficulties, so we're huddling in a room together. Our apologies. So when we first opened this, I approached my team about doing this project. I wanted to make sure that it was going to be in character for my neighborhood of Charlestown, which I have grown up in and I live in, and my work, both professionally and personally, has been dedicated to that community. So when we proposed this facility, it was make sure that it's small.
My apologies. You've been before this board many a time, and you know how when it's late like this, we like to get directly to the point.
Yes.
So Councilor Joyce gave us, Councilor Joyce gave us the high level. So can you get into how many staff? Can you get into the security? Can you just get into how many people you expect in the space? Will your business be primarily online or not? So just kind of walk us through those details.
I'd be happy to. So we will be appointment only to begin, and we are a boutique shop to be small so it fits within the fabric of the community. We will have 4 points of sale, and within that sale, we expect customers to last about 10 minutes or so. So, you do the math on that. It will be a pretty, flowing thing that'll make easy for the community. And our hours are from 8 to 11.
Yep. We'll have about 12 employees, including our security personnel. Dan Linsky from Kroll Security is on this call as well. He'll be designing our systems to be exceeding the state standards. We'll be engaging in entrance at the rear of the building and coming in through the rear where we have an easement. And we'll have like Jack said, 4 points of sale. Our clientele will be focused and our demographic will be focused on those that are most likely 35 plus young professionals who are interested in health and wellness activities, who are active adults, who are using this product as an enhancement or accent.
Okay, so hold on. Tell us how the parking is going to work.
We have access to a lot in the rear of the building. However, we're not going to allow for any parking on site for any of our customers. There are 1,700 parking spaces within a 5-minute walk of the facility, and we intend to use those. Ralph Denisco from Stantec is on, who could sort of walk through some of that if you need further clarification.
And so there's 12 employees, 1,000 square feet, approximately 4 points of sale, 10 minutes per interaction. Let's see, so you have the security, the open office, vault. Is this handicapped accessible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then tell us about proximity to the other cannabis establishment.
We are a completely different concept than the one that's...
I get it, but please tell me, since this is cited, so just tell me what it is and where it is, how far away it is.
We are within a half mile of 116 Cambridge Street. When we filed our application with the board, we were not in conflict of the half-mile rule, but in moving through the process, we did not get to the board prior to the other applicant, and therefore there is another applicant that was approved prior to us. We, again, are a different concept. The other applicant has not been approved by the Cannabis Control Commission at the state level at this point. So there's no telling whether or not they will be. And we believe our location actually will help give choice to the community so that if people were considering using the train system, we're a much more convenient location and perhaps will not drive to the other facility and reduce traffic going through that neighborhood.
We're approximately 1,500 feet away from the other site at 116 Cambridge Street. That's the distance between the two stores.
Okay. Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Kendall?
Drawings are adequate, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? No? Okay. May I have, if anybody's here to speak either in support or in opposition, please raise your hand so Ms. Ambassador can call on you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Caitlin Stapleton from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The Mayor's Office would like to go on support of this proposal. The proponent has completed the community process and held a public meeting on October 22nd, 2020. Our office has heard support from the neighborhood. Thank you.
Mr. Secretary, do you have any letters you'd like to?
I do. I just didn't know if there were any other councilors that were going to speak.
Oh.
Yeah, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Councilor Edward, I think, is
I'm
on
here.
the call.
I'm actually, can you hear me or see me? I apologize. I'm so sorry. I have not used WebEx very often, so I don't know if I'm seen or heard right now.
So you're both seen and heard. So please put your comments on the record, please.
Thank you very much. Members of the board, I go on record in full support of this applicant. In the time that I've had several applicants for cannabis establishments, this is the most supported I've ever seen throughout my entire district, of people coming out with hundreds of letters of support for this local establishment. I also feel it's right size, it's small, and I do believe that the owner has earned the trust and respect from many of the community members and will make sure that they are responsive. I appreciate, more importantly, their appointment system more than anything, to make sure that they can adjust very quickly if there is too much or too little traffic. And I also just wanted to again, go on record in supporting the size of it is especially important to me, because I think as this industry is growing, it is hard for neighborhoods to adjust to it, and to see them start off small is very important. Finally, I would like to note, go on record, he is a social equity applicant. And I do support and hope that social equity applicants do have the support of the city.
Thank you.
I think we have a few raised hands.
Well, Madam Chair,
Mr. Secretary,
thank
go
you.
ahead.
Sorry, Jessica. Madam Chair, we do have letters of support, and we do have a few letters of opposition as well.
Thank you.
So for the raised hands, I'll start with you, Sarah. You've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Hi, my name is Sarah Coughlin. I'm representing the Charlestown Coalition in support of this proposal at 15 Green Street in Charlestown.
Thank you. Robin Reed, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record?
Hi, Robin Reed, 46 Adams Street, Dorchester. I'm speaking for myself as a physician, and even though I am the safety advisor for the Heritage Club at 116 Cambridge, I am not representing them. I'm opposed to this for 4 very specific reasons that has nothing to do with the owners or the candidates themselves, but with the location. First of all, the traffic study that they submitted after the BCB hearing in May was never presented to the community for discussion. And there are some findings on that specific study that shows that the intersection of Moffat Way and Cambridge gets an F score. So it is the worst intersection.
Ma'am, can you please bullet point your concerns so we can hear them, but then also move on to the other people who are wanting to make comments?
I think I'm giving you specific information in a bulleted form. I have to tell you that it's an F rating. I have to give you that specific.
Yes,
The second point is, and that's the most largest complaint the community had, was traffic. The second thing is safety. Accidents occur at that intersection. A child was killed there, and recently there was a bike accident. So there are a lot of safety issues around traffic, and with no parking, there's going to be more congestion. The third point is there were building issues. I won't go into them because you'll have a design review, but the BCB really skirted both the security issues and the fire safeties for that lower office. The fourth thing is the buffer zone. And the buffer zone was intended to protect the community. They have been very clear that they do not want two within their neighborhood. If you look at the map of Charlestown, these two sit in the tiny corner of the area. And there's plenty of commercial space that this other one could be cited, because I do believe they should be approved, but not at this location. So those are my points. I did send a detailed letter explaining these further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maggie, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Did you say Maggie?
Yes.
Hi, speaking. Yes, thank you. My name is Maggie Supri, and I am speaking on behalf of the residents at 341 Bunker Hill Street. I am in opposition of this project, and I ask that the board deny it for a few reasons. And if you just give me a quick second to articulate, I will be fast. A detailed report was submitted to your board, highlighting that the Boston Fire Prevention Code, the State Sanitary Code, and the CCC security regulations are violated in accordance to the plan that this group R2 presented before the community. If you look, they're intending to use the rear of the building as the entrance to facilitate customer wait lines and delivery trucks. But if you look at that building, there's not an adequate amount of space back there to do that without blocking the residential unit occupants who live on the second and third floor, without blocking their fire escape and their second means of egress. Second, they R2 in their basement floor plans, they claim to have exclusive use of the entire basement. But if you look on their plans, the water meters for the entire building are located down there. And according to the state sanitary codes, residential occupants cannot be denied access to that area. However, that conflicts with CCC security regulations that say unauthorized parties aren't allowed in those areas of a dispensary. So I think that conflict needs to be addressed. Lastly, I reiterate what Robin Reed said about the area, Cambridge and Martha Street being graded an F with respect to traffic, and that never being presented to the community. And that's all I have to say. I hope you.
Thank you. Future commenters, please give us new information.
Okay. Jack, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record?
No, Jack, he's the applicant.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. All right. Hand is raised. Can we lower hands as well? If you're not giving testimony for this call, can you please lower your hands? Caller 27, 617947, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Betty Kelly. I live at 460 Medford Street, Charlestown. I live within a half mile of the proposed site.
Mrs. Kelly, I assume you're Jack's mom?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. We hope you're in support, but thank you. May we move on to the next?
Could I just Elaine Donovan? Do we hear from you yet?
My name is Elaine Donovan. I live at 85 Russell Street in Charlestown, and I just want to say that I am a strong supporter of R2. I think Jack Kelly is a wonderful, upstanding citizen in our neighborhood, where he's been a lifelong resident, and he's one of 4 generations currently living here. The other 2 callers that were opposed do not.
No, I just need, sorry. I just need you to put your comments. This is not a back and forth. Okay?
Perfect. Strong supporter. And I just want to say that I've known Jack for many years. He's very much associated in our community. He gives in this community constantly, and I think he will.
Got it. Thank you.
I believe that is everybody, Madam Chair. Thank you. I have no additional raised hands. I believe that's everybody.
Okay. Can I ask everybody who's already commented to please lower your hands, because it makes it difficult for us to know if there's anybody here who still wants to comment. Okay, anybody who's already commented, please lower your hands.
I have Amanda. Amanda, did we get to you?
No, I'm here for this one. I just wanted to show my full support for this project in this location because it is close to the majority of where people live in Charlestown, and it's accessible by foot and bike and means other than cars. Thank you.
Yeah, can you give your address as well? Your name and your
Sure. 41 Monument Avenue.
Thank you.
Amanda, please lower your hand for now. Did we get Sarah?
I think that's Sarah. Sarah, you want to, did we get to you?
Yes, I wasn't able to testify. I was cut off after I gave the address.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, so the Charlestown Coalition, I just wanted people to understand, is a community coalition, so it's representative of 75 different organizations and people within the community. On October 22nd, we went to the hearing for the City of Boston, and then on the 27th, we had a steering committee meeting, and the entire steering committee voted unanimously to support this proposal. Jack is not new to supporting the community. He has a track record that is not unique to just this building. He has hired our youth consistently, and so I have no doubt that he will do that again. He has participated in all of our prevention curriculums for the last 10 years at all of the local middle schools. He has participated in our race dialogues for the last year.
Thank you for putting his history on the record. But we need to just move to the next caller, okay? Thank you.
Okay, caller 23, go ahead. Sorry, did I get to you? 617780, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, well, my name is Mary Supri. I'm a former resident of Brighton Street in Charlestown. I'm opposed to this project. I submitted a packet with pictures in regards to the plan that was submitted to the Cannabis Control Commission in regards to the the fire escape obstructing. I'm sure you have that in front of you. Deliveries, no turnaround space in the back. They say they have parking, that's paid parking behind them. The traffic study, which shows an F, the shut-ups in the basement, and the fact that it's a buffer zone, and the other person is also an equity applicant.
Thank you. Okay, so may I ask the team, it sounds like should this be approved, you have a bunch of work to do. Because if there are in fact issues with the building code, if there are issues with access to meters by residential owners, that absolutely needs to be addressed. So we need to make sure that you are aware that we don't take these concerns lightly, because we understand the balance between residential access to their utilities and your security needs. So just make sure you have a plan to deal with all of that.
Madam Chair, Dan Linsky from Kroll. We have cited several clients in the Boston area and others that similar issues come up. There are ways to work with our design team to build limited access where we can control who goes in, where they go in, and definitely give residents their ability to access their systems, the fire department ability to come in and access systems. One client I have has a cell phone tower that they need to access the system. So we can do that and control it and comply with the cannabis regulations as well with architecture, design, and technology.
Okay, excellent. And then I think the other question is, again, can you respond to that rear parking and the rear access? Because, that may be of concern.
And how you'll handle deliveries?
Sure. I will introduce Ryan Connor for a little bit of background on that. Ryan is our architect. We do not intend to use parking in the rear of our building, even though we have access to it.
Delivery. How about delivery?
We will be delivering in the rear of our building and have the absolute right to do that through our contract lease, which I have for the next 5 years. And so we absolutely can deliver through the rear of the building, and we will be.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we've heard from everybody. We've had clarification. May I have a motion, please? And again, Mr. Ehrlich is not here, but at the last meeting, this lack of clarity in the regulations, I think what continues to put the Zoning Board of Appeal in an awkward position, having to, in fact, approve against every regulation these two facilities in proximity of each other. He is far more articulate on this, but this continues to be our concern. So given that, may I have a motion, please?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Secretary here, to your concerns and my concerns and our board's concerns, I agree with Mr. Ehrlich, but I will make a motion to approve, but with BPDA design review into this applicant only.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Come on, ladies, I need to hear your voices. Any opposed? Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, I'm going to go to the 12:30 rediscussions. Calling the first case, calling VOA 118-1104, 29 St. Andrew Road. This is to build a new back porch, make wider stairs from the first to the second floor, finished basement. The violation is Article 27G. This is in the East Boston iPod. Name and address for the record, please. Is anybody on for 29 St. Andrew Road? I'll hold that one up. I'll hold that one up to this side. Nope. Sorry. Is someone here for St. Andrew Road?
They said one, Ryan Hunt, 1 second.
No, that's for the next case, Jessica.
Oh, that's for the next case. I'm sorry, Mark. Okay, I'm gonna make him a panelist anyway. That person didn't check in for St. Andrew Road, so.
Okay, I'll go to the next case, and we'll come back to it. Calling the next case, calling VOA 112-1328, 142 P Street. This is erect a 3-story, 5-unit residential building. There will be 10 vehicle parking in the garage built underneath the building. The violation is Article 29, Section 4. This is in the G-Pod. Article 68, Section 29, roof structure restriction. Article 68, Section 34, traffic visibility across the corner lot. Article 68, Section 8, the location of the main entrance shall face the front lot line. Article 68, Section 8, the front yard is insufficient. Article 68, Section 8, the side yard is insufficient. Article 68, Section 8, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Mark Lacasse, 75 Arlington Street in Boston, attorney for the project proponent, Sun Property Group. We could hold, yeah, the site plan is great to help you. Oh, sorry, can we stand the site plan? Thank you. At this location currently is a series of single-story cinder block and brick garages and surface parking. So it is largely an unutilized and underutilized lot in a typical multifamily residential neighborhood in South Boston at the corner of P Street and East 6th. The proposal has gone through a number of iterations through the community review process and abutter meetings, and we believe that this current proposal reflects the will of the direct abutters who have asked that various revisions be made.
So, hold on, Mr. Lacasse, just talk us through what is being proposed in detail, okay?
Yes.
We can understand the community process from ONS, but we look to you for your technical expertise.
Absolutely. So depicted on the site plan before you is the proposed structure, which is set back approximately 46 feet from the front on East 6th, and P Street runs along the side of the building. Each of the 5 townhouse front doors are shown in the little slots there and face East 6th Street. The large front area of the setback is a large open space that has been created that also provides access for the ramp that leads down to the lower level parking garages. The proposal is for 5 townhouse units of 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom and home office combination, depending on however the space wishes to be used. And the units range in size, well, the units are all approximately the same size, 2,900 to 3,000 square feet. So they're large family-sized units with two-car parking garage at the lower level of each of the units and 3 floors of living up above.
Miss Edwards, can you show us what a street view of this, what a street view would look like? Counselor, can you tell us what sheet we should be looking at?
Go to the very end of this series of documents, and there's renderings of the proposed street view. No, keep going. That's just computer generated. There's a much better rendering. A little further. No. Okay. I guess the rendering that we had was presented at the community meeting. There are 5 front doors and very small porches on the front of each of the units. Here we are. And on the left-hand side is the ramp going down to the lower level of the garage. Unfortunately, this is 2-dimension, and it's hard to appreciate the large open space created in the front. Maybe back a few slides to...
So tell us, so this looks like you have a retaining wall in place. How high is that retaining wall?
No, the front area is largely landscaped with just the ramp going down to the garage area.
Okay.
Getting into the specific zoning issues, Madam Chair, the use is multifamily residential, which is an allowed use. We were able to comply on many of the larger dimensional issues which relate to density. We have sufficient lot area, sufficient additional lot area per dwelling unit. The FAR is 1.3 as against a maximum of 2.0. We've satisfied the usable open space requirement for each unit with small back patio areas.
So tell us the variances that you are requesting.
Okay, so there are 2 conditional use permits that are required. One is GPOD. Since we are in the GPOD, the overall design, including, if we could stop at this slide, the common green space in the front, which is the buffer zone that has been created, a conditional use for GPOD. Because there are existing 1-story garages on the lot, there's a requirement that this board take into consideration as a conditional use permit the proposed height of the new building after demolition of the existing structures. So since we're taking down 1-story garages and constructing a 3-story structure, this board has to review that based on a conditional use standard, taking into account the underlying zoning. So we do comply on height. It's 31 feet 6 inches as against a height of 40 allowed. So we believe we meet the conditional use requirements for the proposed new structure. There are 2 dimensional items which are shown on the plan that require relief. Side yard, 3 is required, and on each side of the building, which is P Street, and the opposite side, 1 foot is proposed.
Okay, let me just jump ahead a little bit. Can you talk about the traffic visibility across the corner?
Yep.
And just confirm for us that there are no roof decks?
Yes. Madam Chair, I believe the traffic visibility across the corner was a leftover item from a prior refusal letter that does no longer apply because of the significant setback of the building from East 6th Street. Originally, as proposed, when we got our initial refusal letter, the building was fronting right to the edge of 6th Street in alignment with other buildings.
So let me just ask you, because this is having moved the buildings this far back from the front yard, is this still a legitimate refusal letter? Did you get a revised refusal letter when you moved everything so far to the back of the site?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have a revised refusal letter dated August 18, 2021, based upon this very plan that is before you with the building being pushed back.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And you have that, Mr. Fortune, right? Yes, okay.
Yes, that is correct, Madam Chair, we do.
And how are the plans, Mr. Kendall?
And there are
Drawings are fine, Madam Chair.
no
Any
roof.
questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak either in support or in opposition of this proposal?
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the board, Haley Dillon, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in support. The applicant has worked very closely with the neighbors, and recently, a few days ago, our last abutters meeting, they gained the support of the neighbors. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam of the Chair, members of the board. Ana Calderon from Councilor Flink's office. The councilor would like to go on record in opposition based on feedback from neighbors and abutters during a number of meetings throughout the community process. Neighbors call attention to the overall size, height, and density of the project compared to the existing character of the neighborhood, as well as quality of life issues in terms of parking, shadow, and loss of use. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan for City Council at Large Michael Flaherty. Council would like to echo the remarks of Councilor Flynn's office, go on record in opposition. The proponent has made some changes to the plans, but still has several Article 68 violations. And the council would like to note that Article 68 recently went through an extensive community process. His approach has been consistent. He cannot support the variances. Thank you.
Okay, Barry, Mrs. Secretary, any letters?
We do have a couple of letters of support, a couple of letters of opposition.
Hello?
All right, and Barry, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Hi, my name is Barry Holland. I live at 139 Peace Street, directly across from the project. And I'd like to speak in support. I think they've made some nice changes. I think it's a lot better from where we started. And I think the lot's going to look nice the way they're proposing it right now. So I support.
Thank you. Okay, can you lower your hand as well? We have no other raised hands, Madam Chair.
Okay, let's see. Yes, I know what my question was. Jeff, Mr. Hampton, what was the BPDA's recommendation on this?
So our recommendation, our original recommendation was for approval with design review on this. Parks also has to take a look at it because it is in a G-pod, but we made a recommendation to our board for approval with design review.
Okay, thank you. Given all that information, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Secretary, I'll make a motion for approval of BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, I'm going to go back to St. Andrews. They're on, so I'm going to call it back up to the record. Calling BOA 118-1104, 29 St. Andrew Road. This is to build a new back porch, make wider stairs from the first to second floor, and finish the basement. The violation was Article 27G. It's in the East Boston High Quad. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jim Chen. I'm the architect representing 585 Washington Street in Quincy.
Okay, so tell us what's being proposed here.
Yes, so we're proposing to finish the basement, which is currently unfinished at 6'10". So we're planning to dig it down additional couple inches to make it a legal livable space at 7 feet. And in the past zoning hearing, I believe that it's not quite favorable for the owner to do the bedroom in the lower space. So in this revised plan, we show the basement finish with just a playroom, a family room, and a half bathroom.
Okay, is this a one family or a two family?
This is a two family. So the basement will be connected to the first level.
Okay, and where are the utilities? Are the utilities accessible by that second unit?
Yes, the second floor utility is up at the top floor. This unit is in the basement on the top middle area, where it says utility room through the hallway.
And so you'll get to floor to ceiling height by excavating. What's the floor to sill height there?
Floor to ceiling height will be 7 feet.
And floor to sill?
Floor to sill is approximately 42 inch.
Okay. And again, let's just confirm with your client that there is no intention to build bedrooms there once you have the approval for use of the space off the basement. Tell us about the back porch.
So the back porch is extended out toward the rear a bit. There used to be a porch in the back. We extended out additional 8 feet, and then the egress there going off the deck.
Okay. And then going back to the basement, what is the second means of egress from that space?
If you go back, yeah. So second means of egress, first is through the first floor, and the second means is through the back, going through the hallway and then back out to the rear deck, to the rear yard.
Yeah, I think I'm having a hard time seeing that second means, but, oh yes, okay, I see it. Okay, excellent. How are the plans, Mr. Kendall?
Drawings are adequate, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak either in support or in opposition of this proposal?
Madam Chair, I have no raised hands if you don't.
Madam Chair, Lena's speaking. I think she's muted right now.
Oh. Is she? Okay. She's unmuted. Lena, can you hear us? She just muted herself. Oh, Lena, go ahead. Is she around you, Jack?
No, she's working remote.
Okay.
She's on. I'm not sure. She might be having some technical difficulties.
Thank you. Do you know if she was in support or opposition?
Yeah, I can speak on her behalf. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jack Duggan, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Just like to go on record in support. I've been in touch with Lena, and the applicant has the support of the Orion Heights Neighborhood Council. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. I have no additional raised hands on my end.
Anybody from the District City Councilor's office? Okay. Hearing nothing else, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPDA design review.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you.
Calling the next two cases, calling BOA 116-1109, 46 N Street. There is a companion case, BOA 116-1110, 48 N Street. This is for 46 N. Erecting third-story addition to an existing structure with front and rear decks on a roof of the second story. A violation of Article 68, Section 29, roof structure restrictions. Article 68, Section 8, insufficient side yard setback. Article 68, Section 8, excessive FAR. This is for 48 N Street. It's the same purpose and it's the same violation, but it's only a few. I'll read it in. Erect a third-story addition for an existing structure with front and rear decks on a roof on the second story. The violations are the same as the previous. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is George Moranci. I'm an attorney with the business address of 350 West Broadway in South Boston. I represent Russell and Linda Castagna, who own and reside at 48 N Street, and Greg and Kara Donovan, who own and reside at 46 N Street. These are two separate but related applications for two addresses with two owners, but they may be heard together because the proposals are substantively the same, a vertical addition to each property. The buildings are essentially mirror images of each other, and both my clients would seek to add a third-story addition, partial third-story addition, to provide approximately 1,200 square feet of additional living space for their families. 48 N Street is a two-family dwelling, and 46 N Street is a two-family with an ADU, an additional dwelling unit. The zoning sub-district is MFR, multifamily residential. Each addition would constitute a partial third story, as each would be set back approximately 14 feet from the front of the buildings and 16 feet from the rear of the buildings. 48 would have a 7.5-foot wide build-out for an interior staircase in the rear, differing slightly from 46 N Street. Each building would have new third-floor front and rear balconies off of that additional living space. The addition to 48 N Street would consist of an entertainment room and a home office that is owned by the Castagnas. At the Donovan's building, 46 N Street, there are currently 3 rather small bedrooms on the second floor. These would be combined into 2 bedrooms for the Donovan's children, and the addition would consist of a new master suite. The zoning refusal letter for each application cites a roof structure violation, but I'd point out that these proposals...
So, Mr. Moranci, I remember this case from, and I think Mr. Fortune might remember this case from the springtime. Tell us what's changed since then.
Nothing, Madam Chair.
Hold on, first tell us why you were deferred, and second, if anything's changed.
Nothing has changed. This was denied. I have to go back. This was originally at a subcommittee, and then it was put off until a regular board meeting. And I have to be perfectly honest, I don't really recall. As you say, it was sometime in the spring. I'm not sure exactly why that was deferred at the time. I believe I requested a deferral, and it may have been unavailability of my clients, but I honestly don't remember.
Oh, yes.
But the plans are the same.
Yes. You're right. That was true. Yes.
I think that was it.
Okay.
So as to the zoning refusal letter here for each application cites a roof structure violation, and these really aren't roof structures. They're partial third-story additions that are compliant with maximum building height under the code. There's a side yard setback violation cited for each. For 46 N Street, that relates to the existing left side setback, which is not being increased. It simply owes to the vertical extension of that existing setback. As the side violation for 48 N Street, on the left side, that building is connected to 46, so it is impossible to have a side yard setback. And on the right side, the setback is more than double of what is required by the code. There is a paved driveway to the right. Each application was cited for an FAR violation. The maximum FAR in the district is 2. I honestly believe that at least one of these violations cited is incorrect. Just pointing out that 46 N Street is a 3,429 square foot lot. So the maximum FAR that's allowable would be 6,858 square feet. Given the dimensions of the building, it is physically impossible for the gross floor area to be more than 7,350, which would produce an FAR of 2.1. And again, 2.0 is allowed. The 48 N Street lot. Sorry.
Hold up for a minute. How are the plans, Mr. Tyndall? Mr. Kendall, how are the plans?
I'm here, Madam Chair. I'm sorry. Drawing's adequate.
Okay, any questions from the board? Okay, is anybody here to speak either in support or in opposition to this proposal?
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the board, Haley Dillon, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support of this proposal. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam of the Chair, members of the board. Ana Calderon from Councilor Flink's office. The councilor would like to go on record in support based on the majority of feedback and support letters from abutters and neighbors in the area. Previously, we had hoped that a good faith compromise could have also been worked out among other neighbors. Unfortunately, that did not occur. However, the majority of neighbors provided support letters and noted the additional top floors and living space will remain owner-occupied for these families. We ask that the proponent be considerate of the abutters and to be good neighbors during the construction phase and throughout this process. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of City Council Elijah Michael Flaherty. Article 68 went through an extensive committee process. The council's approach has been consistent in not supporting variances. The council would like to note that the proponents have worked to secure the approval of many direct abutters. However, not all direct abutters are in support of this proposal. Therefore, the council defers to the board's interpretation and understanding of zoning laws as it pertains to unnecessary and unintentional hardships. If approved, the council asks the proponent work closely with the abutters and surrounding neighbors to address quality of life concerns. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I do have a few raised hands. Get to those. So. Kathleen, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Kathleen Wallace, 40 N Street. I'm in opposition to this project. I'm about 50 feet away from the project. I just want to cite 1982 Boston Landmarks Committee 1981 South Boston Preservation Study that specifically called out these two addresses as colonial revival double two families. We face Independence Square, which is now Medal of Honor Park, and it would be a shame to ruin the idyllic Medal of Honor Park facing properties. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and, Phil Trotter, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name's Phil Trotter, and I'm at 621 East First Street. From my roof deck, I can see the property, and the roof line structure is not offensive at all. From the park, it's not offensive at all. So I think we should support this project. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and Barbara Connolly, you've been unmuted. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Barbara Connolly, and I live at 56 N Street for the past 34 years. I live 2 doors down from the Castagna and Donovan homes, and I've known both families for years and watched their families grow up. I'll make it very brief. The plans have been reviewed, and they're meticulous and well thought out, and I think that it would only enhance the neighborhood. There are 6 homes on this block. All of them are well maintained, and I fully support it, and I hope you do too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I have no additional raised hands.
Madam Chair, Secretary here, we do have letters of support. We do have a few letters of opposition as well, as the Mayor's office has said.
Anybody who has already spoken, please put your hands down so that we know if there's anybody we need to hear from.
Just make sure, I think I have Mary Ellen. Did I get to you, Ms. Wallace?
Hi, no, you did not.
I'm sorry about that. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
No, that's okay. Mary Ellen Wallace, 40 N Street. I have been born and raised in that home, as well as my dad. I would like to go on record in opposition of this project. I know back at the City Point Neighborhood Association meeting back in March, it was brought up by the Neighborhood Association with all the opposition that potentially the clients would come back to the neighbors and talk about some sort of compromise, and that hasn't happened from March until now, which is August 31st. So I would like to go on record in opposition to this project. Thank you.
Mary Ellen, what is your address again? Because I thought I heard 48N, but I just may be mishearing.
No, I'm at 40 N Street. My sister also spoke earlier. That was Kathleen's same address.
40N. Okay, thank you. Okay, so given all that information, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Secretary here. I'm going to make a motion for approval with BPDA design review.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you. Calling the next case, calling BOA 113-0507, 120 Hancock Street. This is erect 15 dwelling units. The violation is Article 65, Section 41, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 65, Section 41, off-street parking design and maneuverability. Article 65, Section 41, off-street loading is insufficient. Article 65, Section 8, accessory parking is forbidden. Article 65, Section 8, a multifamily dwelling is forbidden. Article 65, Section 9, the lot area for additional dwelling units is insufficient. Article 65, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 65, Section 9, the building height is excessive. Article 65, Section 9, the building height number of stories is excessive. Article 65, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. And Article 65, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Attorney Joseph Feaster from the law firm of McKenzie & Associates, 183 State Street in Boston. Sorry to have to make Mr. Fortune be tired reading all of those violations, but I can assure you that this is a good project which we will have the architect, Mr. Ben Tolman, present. So if Ms. Thomas, the ambassador, could unmute Mr. Tolman, that would be great. This is a project, I'll just start by saying, this is a project which my client, Urbaniker, one through a disposition by the Department of Neighborhood Development. This is a totally affordable development. There are 15 units. 8 units will be at 80% of AMI. 7 units will be at 100% of AMI. The parking that's proposed here are 9 spaces. The required is 22.5. There will be covered parking spaces, a roof garden, and a plaza. There is significant MWBE participation in the development of this project, including an invited developer for wealth creation. But I know, Madam Chair, you want Mr. Tolman to talk about the development, so I will definitely.
So I'm looking at Google Maps or Google Street View, and it looks like this is a very, on this side of the street, it looks like it's pretty much triple deckers, maybe 6 families, and then on the other side of the street, looks like it's a combination. Just to put that on the record, and it looked like, so can we have the architect please talk this through? Because it also looks like you're having a challenge with the steep slope. So,
right.
so
I will have Mr. Tolman do that for you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Mr. Tolman, would you please speak to the
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. Thanks for hearing us. For the record, my name is Ben Tolman. I'm a project architect with Studio Lewis Architects at business address 67 Poplar Street in Roslindale. And this project, as Mr. Feaster said, is a 4-story affordable housing development with a below-grade parking level. It will utilize passive house design practices and will meet the city's zero carbon emission standards. The project consists of 15 affordable homeownership units, 3 one-bedroom units, 10 two-bedroom units, one of which is a sensory unit, and 2 two-bedroom accessible units. There is a sloped green space at the back, at the rear of the building, that's approximately 5,500 square feet. And if we can go to the garage floor plan.
Please, Ben, can you tell us
Yep.
what the average size of the 1 bedrooms, the 2s, and the other 2 bedrooms are?
Yeah, so the 1-bedroom units have an approximate average of 600 square feet, and the 2 bedrooms are an average of 750 square feet, these were approved by D&D staff for their target unit sizes.
Okay, and then given the site constraints, just can you tell us how everything is going to work?
Sure. So we have this garage, parking garage level accessed by the street on the bottom of the screen there. There will be 9 parking spaces provided below grade, and then there's an accessible lobby to the right of the screen with a stairway and an elevator going up to the residential units. Also at this level, on the top of the screen is a bike storage for 19 bikes, which is more than the 1 bike per unit, and a package and mail room. And then if we go up to the first floor level, so you see that the 2 means of egress are this stair 1 at the top of the screen leading out to the rear access way in the back around the side of the building. And then if you scroll down slightly, the second means of egress is through that stairway down into the garage level.
Okay, and so the 2-bedroom accessible unit. So in the event of a fire, for example, how does somebody exit? What is the second means of egress for such a unit?
For this 2-bedroom accessible?
Yeah, what if I'm in a wheelchair? How do I get out of the space?
So this is a patio space. So one means is through the lobby, and the other means is through the exterior patio around to the back.
Okay. And then the shared amenity space, any idea what that's going to be?
No, not sure how it will look in terms of programming, but it is a 600 square foot shared amenity space, and the adjoining 300 square foot shared outdoor patio.
Madam Chair, I would think that, I'm not sure the developer has really spoken to that particular issue as to the utilization of that particular space, but it'll be obviously for the residents of the building. If by chance it becomes something that can be used by a community space, I'm not sure that that's been determined at this time, but it will be at least be available for programmatic aspects for the residents of the building.
Yes, got it. How are the plans, Mr. Kendall?
Drawings are adequate, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yes, Madam Chair, Secretary here. Mr. Fisto, what has changed since the last time you were here? Did the parking change?
No, we were not, I was not here. This matter hasn't come before you before, Mr. Fortune. This is the first time that we're before this board. To my knowledge, unless there's something that I'm unaware of, but to my knowledge, this is the first time we saw it. A deferral was around the extension, but we have not presented this project before this board.
No, okay, because Mr. D'Amico spoke in regards to this on August 26th. That
yeah,
the spaces 4 and 5.
On August 20th, I'm sorry, Mr. Fortune, August 26th of this year?
Yes.
That would have been around the extension, just an extension of the time because this project was delayed because of both one in terms of COVID as well as trying to get the financing. So those extensions were granted. And so we had to come forward on the project itself at this particular point in time.
So my point is, Mr. Feaster, that on June 24th, Mr. D'Amico spoke on it, saying that 120 Hancock Street was fine, but then on August 26th, Madam Chair, I'm just going to put into the record, 120 Hancock Street, he says remove spaces 4 and 5, and design the spaces to be placed on a 60-degree angle for appropriate maneuverability. And that was dated August 26th of this year.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Given the slope of the land, I'm just curious about how you handle kind of staging during construction.
I'm not.
I mean, the Urbanica team is here, and we can help to answer that question specific to the construction stage.
Right, will you answer that, Michelle, please?
I mean, Cameron is here and he can.
Okay. This is the developer, Cameron Zahidi from Urbanica. So Cameron, could you answer that question?
Yes. This Cameron Zahidi. As far as the construction goes, most of this field was brought up on this land at a later date. So the idea is basically break the ground from the front of the site and keep moving the soil and have a supporting wall for the rest of them and keep going back to and cut into the hill. So it's gonna basically be done in different stages and keep, moving, toward the hill. So it starts on the Hancock Street, moving the field out, and then, build, the first part of the parking, and then, keep going back and, build on the top of them. So the idea of build the parking and then, like as a podium, and build the 4 stories on top of it.
And the parking level creates a retaining wall between.
That's correct. That's correct. the back of the parking garage create a retaining wall. That's correct.
And Mr. Zahidi, is this going to be LEED certified?
Yes, that's going to be LEED certified, and it's going to be minimum of silver or gold, and also it's going to meet, net zero standards.
So it's net zero, and it's going to be LEED silver or gold?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's just see. Is there a planned roof deck on this?
There is no roof there. Most of the roof is going to be done with the solar panels and some equipment, but most of it is going to be solar panels, so there's no roof.
Okay.
Just, I think I wanted to, if you could just clarify, maybe I misspoke at a moment. I said there's going to be a roof garden. I said a roof garden in a plaza. That's not going to apply at this time. I just want to clarify.
On the floor, we have some open space and plaza.
Yeah, got it. Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak either in support or in opposition of this proposal?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jack Duggan, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Just want to go on record in support. We've heard from the community and they support this proposal as well as the local civic association. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor Frank Baker's office would like to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, I do have a raised hand. Julio?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. Julio Pelier, Housing Development Officer with the Department of Neighborhood Development. I would like to go on record in support for the project. As the development team has mentioned, this is a project that has gone through an extensive community process and an RFP process. And it's going to basically remove vacant, underutilized land from the city's inventory and return it to the tax revenue in addition to creating affordable homeownership housing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, City Council at large, make clarity. Council to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, if I might, the Civic Association referred to by Mr. Dugan is the Hancock Civic Association. I believe the file should reflect the letter of support from the Hancock.
Thank you. Councilor, just hold on a second. Ms. Ambassador, all good?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve a BPDA design review.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, members of the board. Thank you.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 114-4121, 405 Washington Street. This is a new 13-unit multifamily. The violation, Article 65, Section 41, insufficient parking. Article 65, Section 65-41.5, access and maneuvering area. Article 65, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 65, Section 9, the number of allowed stories has been exceeded. Article 65, Section 9, the maximum allowed height has been exceeded. Article 65, Section 42.3, the traffic visibility across the corner. Article 65, Section 39, an MFR in a 2F sub-district. Article 65, Section 8, 13-unit MFR dwelling is forbidden use. Article 65, Section 9, insufficient rear yard setback. And Article 65, Section 9, insufficient front yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
All right. I am sorry I wasn't paying attention to the reading of, I thought Birch Street was the one that was on here, so I apologize, Mr. Fortune. I must have dozed off there for a moment. Attorney Joseph Feaster from the law firm of McKenzie.
That's what happens with age.
I know, this is what it is.
Those moments.
Yes, well, in terms of, I'm glad that you recognize that and you are indulgent of me, Madam Chair, for sure. Joseph Feaster from the law firm of McKenzie and Associates, 183 State Street in Boston. Is either Mr. Jason Chang is going to be the architect who will be speaking about this project, but before he does, Once again, my client Urbaniker does quite a number of projects with the Department of Neighborhood Development, very committed to providing affordable housing. This project at 405 Washington Street in Dorchester will have 13 mixed income housing units, 4 units at 80% AMI, 5 units at 100% AMI, and 4 units at 120 AMI. The unit sizes will range from a studio of 530 square feet to a 1-bedroom units, 600 square feet average, 2-bedroom units, 750 square feet, and a 3-bedroom units at 1,000, average of 1,000 square feet. The requirement is for 13 parking spaces. We have 9 parking spaces in this proposal, and I will ask, I'm not sure if it's Mr. Chung who's going to present this or not, but someone from Urbaniker will. So, who is presenting for Urbaniker?
Hi, Joe. It's Stephen Chung.
Stephen Chung. Okay, well, I'll get it right. See, that age is showing once again.
The architect of the project also happened to be with Cameron Zahedi, the developer, in his office, so we can, I think, together answer questions that you might have. What would you like me to explain beyond what you've just?
So, Stephen, can you speak up a little bit? I just generally have a hard time hearing. So, can you please just describe how the building will function? You know, so Mr. Feaster has given us a high level, shows how the parking plan is supposed to work, and those kind of details. And this is a corner lot, right?
It is a corner lot.
So you have opportunities and restrictions. Looks like you have a bus stop right in front of the building.
That's correct.
Okay, so just tell us how you accommodate for all that.
Which plan? Can I speak to a site plan?
So tell us which plan it is so Ms. Edwards can pull it up.
Maybe page, I don't know, 4 or 5. It's before the elevation, so if you keep going backwards, maybe. Okay, keep going, those are the floor plans. Okay, you can, yeah, that's fine. So the site actually has a bit of a slope to it. So on the lower part of the screen, you have Washington Street. And as you go up the hill, it actually is about 1 story different. So really what you're looking at here is a ground floor where you have the car on the left. That's a little driveway, a private driveway that turns into a parking garage or a garage. And pedestrian entry is right on Washington Street. You can sort of see that, the double doors to a small lobby. So this is a partially underground parking garage, I would say. And then if you go up 1 floor plan, you can kind of just scroll to the next floor. Okay, so the upper part of the lot has a driveway. That driveway is an easement that allows access for a neighbor and a butter to get to their parking lot. So we maintain that easement. That also provides entry for 2 of our units on the upper floors, which we call the live-work units. Something the community was interested in having us have. So there's direct access off of that. You can maybe zoom out. You can sort of see it and scroll up to the top. Okay, right there, you sort of see that driveway. That driveway is for both the users of this building, but also for the abutter who's to the left, which you don't see them on this page, but that driveway is maintained as an easement for the abutter. And anyway, there's an upper entrance here, which allows these 2 corner units on the upper part to be accessed by their own ramps, their handicapped accessible ramps. And if it's an office, people can come right off this street, face or off the driveway into these 2 units. Or they can use the main entrance that's on 1 level below that we just looked at. So really the building is imagine kind of 4 quadrants with sort of circulation in the middle, and there's basically almost 4 units per floor, but basically that's kind of how it's oriented. You know, just architecturally, I don't know if you read that, but there was an old house here on this site years ago. It burned and then was torn down, and it has some historical significance, and we use that as kind of the inspiration, pay homage to some of the roof lines, the material palette, and working with the community, tried to develop an architectural language which is consistent and respectful of what was there previously. And so that would sort of explain the massing, the roof profile, material palette. I wouldn't call it traditional, but I would just say that it is reminiscent of what was there previously, which was a very nice old house. And so the building is really meant to look like a grand house.
Sorry, do we have a rendering of it?
There are many renderings. I'm not sure what you have in front of you. Let's see. Do they have any renderings? Not in this set? I guess you don't have it in this set.
Okay. And is this an elevator building?
It is not an elevator building.
Okay. And are there any roof decks?
There are no roof decks.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Tindall? Mr. Kendall, how are the plans?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I'm having a problem with drawings adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak either in support or in opposition?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jack Duggan, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Just want to go on record in support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Dustin Gardner on behalf of City Councilor Andrea Campbell's office. We would also like to go on record in support.
I do have another raised hand. Julio, are you looking to give testimony on this project as well?
Yes, please. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. Julio Pellier, Housing Development Officer with DND. I would like to go on record in support of the project as well. And this is similar to 120 Hancock, where it went through an extensive community process and RFP process, and Urbanica was designated to develop the land. We also do have some renderings that we used for a community meeting earlier this year. I'm sure that we can make those available to the board if needed.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, City Council, Elijah Michael Flaherty, Council to go on record in support.
No additional raised hands, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I might, there is I believe it has been submitted to the board. If it has not, it's not in the record. If Mr. Fortune says it's not there, there's a support letter from the 407 Washington Street Condominium Trust in favor of the project.
Thank you.
Mr. Feastin, we do not have that.
I will make sure that that is provided to the record. I'll send it to Ms. Haynes.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve a BPDA design review.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, members of the board. Have a great rest of the week.
You too.
Calling the last case of the day, calling VOA 116-0393, 80 North Beacon Street. This is to erect a new 8-unit building. The violation is Article 51, Section 56. Off-street parking is insufficient. Article 51, Section 8, the MFR in a forbidden use in a 1F 3000 subdistrict. Article 51, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 51, Section 9, the building height is excessive in stories. Article 51, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. Article 51, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. And Article 51, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney John Fulgini on behalf of the applicant, 10 Forbes Road in Braintree. I'm joined with the architect, Mark Sangiolo, as well as Jay Walsh, who's part of the development team. So as Mr. Fortune stated, this is 80 North Beacon Street in Alston. The project has changed. It is 6 units, Madam Chair, not 8 units. So it's 6 units with 6 parking spaces. Zoning is 1F 3000, the lot size is 7,500. I know, Madam Chair, you know a lot about this neighborhood. It's a very diverse street, mixed use. We have significant commercial and institutional buildings there. Right across the street from this project, our proposed project is Boston Volvo Maintenance and Service. Next to that is Boston Volvo Sales. 72 apartment buildings. Right to our right, our abutter, if you're looking at the building to our right, is Spalding Rehab Hospital. So that's obviously a very large institution. So all up and down the street is commercial. Violations, as Mr. Fortune read, was FAR, we're at a 1.56. Because we're doing multifamily residential, that is a forbidden use. Parking is 1.75. We're providing 1 per unit. Height, as Mr. Fortune stated, we are compliant with feet. We are a violation on number of stories, being 3 stories in a 2.5 zone. Front yard setback required is 15. We're at 7. Rear yard is 30. We're at 18.8. And then side yard required is 10. Where we abut the residential on the left side, we're 14 feet, and we're 3 feet 9 inches from Spalding on the right. The program of the building.
I'm sorry. Can you tell me, because I'm kind of having, trying to understand, is this new construction, or is it adjusting that building that was on the site?
There's no building on this. It's an empty lot, Madam Chair. Separately.
Empty lot. Okay. So it's new construction. Can we see a rendering of what this might look like?
I think it's right at the top of that. Well, you see that, but there's a color elevation drawing, I think, at the very beginning of this plan. There you go.
Okay. So it's 5 3-bedrooms.
And
right?
1 2-bedroom. Yep.
5 3-bedrooms and 1 2-bedroom. And what's the average square feet for the breakdown?
So on the 3 beds, you're averaging about 1750, and on the 1 bed, it's 1967. Sorry.
Mr. Polgini, as secretary, I know the tides are rising, but when did they get ocean coming, right?
I didn't even notice that until you said that.
It's a beautiful ocean view, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's a little deceptive, though.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, the 3 bedrooms were what? How many square feet?
On average, well, they're 16. 2 of them are 1,678 square feet. 2 of them are 1,801 square feet, and 1 is 2,147. So collectively, I would say probably
Average is 1,750, and then I think this is where I got confused because you said, did you say the 2 bedrooms were 1967?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
So the 2 bedrooms are larger than the 1 bedrooms?
There's only 1 2-bedroom. So the first floor goes down. They do have lower level media room. If you look at the plan, you'll see that there's no bedrooms or anything down there. We have an 8'4" ceiling height. And it's a small bath and a media room you can see on that. Everything else is utilities. Okay. And that goes for unit 1 and 2.
Okay. Let's see. Looks like you have window wells. Can you show us how the, Miss Edwards, can you tell Miss Edwards what plan the parking plan is on?
The architect should be on this call, Mark Sangiolo.
Hi, yes, hi, Madam Chair, members of the board. I think the best plan to look at is really A3, that one right there, that shows the parking. So you come in the driveway on the left. Part of the building is underneath the maneuvering area where that dotted X is, and then you pull into your space to the left. There's 6 parking spaces.
Oh, so they're all surface parking. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any roof decks on this proposal?
No, there's no roof decks. We do have access to the roof for mechanical equipment. There is some mechanical equipment on the roof, but no roof decks.
And how is open space requirement met?
They don't have I don't believe in the zoning table, they have an open space requirement, but we tried to give, through the community process, we did try to give some open space in the left corner up there, the 14 by 20 open space, and then there's some on the top side of the building too.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Kendall?
They're adequate, Madam Chair.
Okay, adequate. I worry, but I hear adequate. Okay, any questions from the
It's
board?
been so long, we haven't heard it in a while. I'm bringing it back.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak either in support or in opposition of this proposal?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Jack Duggan, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Just want to go on record in opposition. The applicant did complete a full community process and does have many letters of support in support of the Alston Civic Association. However, some direct abutters have some concerns, and that's the reason for our opposition. Thank you.
And Jack, what are the concerns centered on? Because I know this is a 1F3000, but I also know that North Beacon Street is fairly trafficked street. So what are the concerns based on?
Madam, I don't have Connor Newman here and to expand on that, but perhaps John would provide some of that information if he's heard something throughout the community process.
Okay, so let's go ahead. Yes, and anybody, Mr. Ambassador, can we hear from other people, please?
Madam Chair, Secretary here, we do have letters of support.
Okay.
Don't have any raised hands. But Jack, is there anyone else who's going to be speaking on this? Or?
Is anybody in from the elected official? Is Moira on?
Don't see her today. I didn't see her today.
Okay.
No.
I don't know if Tony Disidoro was on also. He wrote a letter in support as well, Madam Chair.
So we have that letter.
Yes, and is Annabelle Gomes on?
We didn't, because it was in Alston, we didn't appear before the BAIA.
Okay. So yeah, pulling up Tony's letter. Okay. No, I'm just having a bit of a hard time because I like the work that you do, Counselor, but when you start off very dense, anything coming down appears sweet. But if we look at the zoning, it's 1F3000. So kind of like torn on this project.
And I agree. I think you just have to take it into your statement earlier. If you look at North Beacon Street itself and where this is located, I don't know if you guys have your tablets available and you can just look at what's surrounding this building. It is, dense commercial, retail, liquor stores.
But it's true. That's true across the street. But on this side of the street, it tends to be residential. And I know that there was that condo development, I guess they're condos, but denser development that went in at some point. But parts of it are single family, or two family. So I just am torn with the density question.
Could I speak to that?
Yes,
This is Mark Sanjol, the architect. One thing, yes, we are next to the residential area, but we are right at the very corner of that residential area, right on Beacon Street too. So it is kind of a transition area. It's not like we're in the middle of the residential district. And on one side of us is the Spalding Rehab. It's a fairly large building and it allows a lot of open space, air and light on that side. As you go farther down on North Beacon Street to the east towards Alston Village Center, which is only a quarter mile away, you do get larger residential projects.
Yeah. Anyway, may I have a motion, please? Jeff, is Mr. Hampton still on? Jeff, what did the BPDA recommend?
Well, it's funny, Madam Chair, because when our recommendation went to the board on August 19th, we reviewed it as an 8-unit building, and we recommended approval with proviso that permeable materials be used for the driveway, and we do design review to increase the open space where possible.
Then it was reduced to 6, yeah.
So we had recommended originally approval with proviso, and I believe one of the reasons, I mean, it really is right on that sub-district line with the CPS next to Mount. And,
Yeah, and I've noticed, just to go on an aside, Jeff, can you make sure that when CPS projects come to the BPDA, that given this time of climate change, et cetera, that in fact the CPS projects don't do what they did in West Roxbury on the Bird Streets and chop it up into lots, but do a cluster development? It's just an aside, since you brought up.
You know, we were
Sorry.
stuck with the with that. I mean, you know, the abutting property is still owned by the Mount or St. Joseph's.
I got it. No, I'm perfectly fine with cluster. The goal was to keep as much green open space, but when you, you know, actively subdivide it, like on the Bird Streets in West Roxbury, that goes totally against any thought behind CPS.
Yeah, I mean, if that ever comes with the Mount property, we'll absolutely take a look at that. I know Spalding has a master plan in place. That was a nursing home at the time, but they went through the master plan process.
Excellent. Okay, so let's see. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve a BPTA design review.
I'll second that motion, Secretary.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
everybody. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good Labor Day. Can board members stay on just for 5 minutes? Because I just want to make sure everything's good.